Yo, good afternoon, good morning. It's good to be on another little drive soapbox, sci-fi soapbox. Maybe that's a good name for it. But this is Jeff Carroll, sci-fi writer. Check me out on Amazon. Wrote a bunch of good books. Um, I'm talking to you today, which is like real good. Usually I'm doing some real negative, not really negative, some critique, plea for better things. But today I want to talk about a comment that came over on Instagram, a response to a picture that I put. Really was about Luke Cage, season 2, which is like awesome. But the topic today is, why is sci-fi so hot? Like, why is it winning? You know what I'm saying? We talk about Luke Cage, season 2, but then we had a bunch of real banger movies this year. We had not other than Black Panther, but we've had a bunch of other black movies. Gabrielle Union had a movie. Taraji P. Henson had a movie, but none of them seemed to like fully stick. Now maybe they weren't crazy good, maybe they weren't there were areas that needed to be improved in them, but I just think what makes sci-fi so such a win is you have some good actors in Luke Cage. Don't deny that. Same thing with Black Panther. Those is A-list black actors, okay? And definitely even the new people that are introduced to us in Luke Cage are amazing quality. You can't take away from Cottonmouth in season 1 and Bushmaster in season 2. I was introduced to them in Luke Cage. I mean, so that was like kind of the first time I really saw them get their acting chops off, and they did amazingly good. Especially homegirl who plays Simone Mystic, who plays Misty Knight. Oh, she's awesome. So why is sci-fi winning right now? I believe sci-fi is winning for the main reasons why I love sci-fi. Okay, why I think it's really good for people, especially in this world now where many people think it is a dystopian world. It's a world that they don't see any hope right now. As much as Donald Trump says, "Make America Great Again," is a stain on the planet. It's not just America. He's having an impact on the globe in not necessarily a way that people are viewing it as a positive thing. Not to mention, a lot of this energy that's kicking in, especially Black Panther, Luke Cage, isn't coming from Africa, isn't coming from England, Canada, the Caribbean, South America, China. It's coming from America, black Americans, just like hip hop, multicultural black Americans, but still in all American based. And there's something about my tribe, I'll say that, the African American tribe, a countryless people. We live in a country that we built, but it doesn't feel like it wants us all the time. We have to fight for our place in ways that people who come from England and Europe, who come here and they may be first generation, they're more welcome in a country that our ancestors were here for 300-400 years, and then we go back to Africa and we have no real roots. If it's not for country, well, we do have roots, but if it was not for countries like Ghana, we would not feel fully welcomed. And they roll out the red carpet, they really do a good job, but you really don't. It's not like going to a place where your family is still there and you have relatives like other immigrants do. When they go back to these places, like one dude got caught by ICE and he got deported. He went back, his sister was already living there. It wasn't that strange to him because he had family there. Now, we have extended ancestors, but that may not be family, you know. So we have a different take on the world, and we're pushing for our place, and that pushing is what made Black Panther what it is. That pushing is what makes Luke Cage, it is what it is. Why is sci-fi winning? It's not just winning in film, it's winning in books. It's one of the hottest growing genres, subgenres of literature, black sci-fi. And really is black sci-fi, but there's a lot of multiculturalism in there too. There's the Africans that, India Okafor, and other people from different parts of the African diaspora, people from the Caribbean, okay, that are selling books, but they're topping the charts. Shout out to N.K. Jameson. At least she is pushing. She just won the Hugo Award. Shout out to Linda Addison, poet extraordinaire, sci-fi, horror, big imagination people. They're pushing it. We talk about superhero movies. We got Jurassic Park. We got Meg. Even this movie with Rock coming out about the big building that's being built. It's like a remake of Towering Inferno. We have The Purge. We have that going on. We just had Star Wars release 2 movies in 1 year. Marvel and their superhero movies are releasing like 3 or 4 movies in 1 year, and people still want more movies. So sci-fi is it. We talked about Star Trek being a brand built on a lot of futuristic speculation. And when we watch the movies, they don't really have that. The last 3 movies, the last one was with Idris Elba. It's really not speculating on a half black, half white person or a planet that's overcrowded. Maybe Orville is doing it. Orville did a good, the show Orville did a good take on speculation. They did one that mirrored what's going on in China now, where you get social ranking by how active you are in social media and in life. That was really cool. But even Star Trek Discovery is not speculating the way the Kirk and Spock TV show speculated. And why is that? Maybe it's because we live in a future that has a present, that has cell phones, that has technology. What do you imagine that we are not working on right now? See, in the 60s and the 70s when Star Trek came out, they were imagining things that we didn't have right now at that time, or we're even working on. Now we're working on a lot of these things, and we have to have conferences just to show all of the technological advancements that are already existing that people don't know about. So unless you are a sci-fi writer that goes to these conferences, or you won't even include those things in your story, you may think of something being futuristic and they already have it out. And I know that's happened to quite a few writers. But because we live in a society where there's already things going on that we can't imagine, what else is there to speculate about? And that's why the superhero stories come into big time play. That's why Jurassic Park is so cool, because it doesn't just speculate about the creation of these things. Many times they're beyond the creation and the marveling of the idea. They are moving to how is it impacting society. Now they're getting into what can go right, what can go wrong. These people have this ability, then what? Thanos is a big moral, ecological question for the universe. We're dealing with a planet that some people believe is overpopulated, and so he wants to decrease the universe's population. That's amazing, but that's because we are in that type of futuristic world where thinking of a cell phone, thinking of a robot is not imaginative anymore, because we already have people working on robots. We already use global computers, cell phones, or whatever you want to call them. So sci-fi now steps beyond that. And what makes it hot is, everybody is embracing science now. Before, when Mary Shelley wrote the first popular sci-fi book, Frankenstein, which people argue whether it's science fiction or horror, and I say it's both. It's like the movie Aliens, it scares you and it's got sci-fi science elements in it. But when that story came out, people didn't have labs in their basements. They didn't all have basements. They didn't all have castles like Dr. Frankenstein. So that wasn't something that they could connect with. Many of the people probably at that time didn't even know how to do those type of sciences, But in a world now where 2-year-olds damn near are playing on tablets, and everybody's using technology that maybe they don't know how to make, but they certainly know how it impacts society. Just having it is no big deal anymore. So sci-fi is part of our world. Sci-fi is the present. So before, when you did have a Wild West, when people could go across the country and see a cowboy movies was hot because it was regular. It was not your world, but it was the world next to your world. It was out west. Sci-fi is that now. We live where these kids are playing video games, dreaming about fighting on other planets in outer space, flying crafts. It's not, so sci-fi is that world. Sci-fi is representing that. So that's why sci-fi is so hot right now, because people really can connect with it. You find some people that say, I can't get into it. And many times, a lot of those people are really, really overwhelmed with stress and other things. And, but that's a real extreme person. Most people you talk to nowadays, they're into sci-fi. That's why I think it's so hot, I don't know. But, I love to hear what you thought. This is just me ranting. I don't even know if I made any valid points. But thank you for checking it out. And, I'm going to post it. Peace.